Back on the streets. Okay, what we have here is a veteran police officer, over 30 years on the force. And we get into a good discussion about police corruption, drugs, and of course the current civil state of things. We talk about Jeff Sessions, of course, and he definitely thinks that the deep state putting well, I'll let him say it, but he's on the right side of the law, let's put it that way. But I did have some contention with him on drug legalization, which is odd when you come up and see the arguments that he presented or the evidence he brings up beforehand. So anyway, it's a good, I speak to a tremendous amount of police officers out there on the street. I would venture to say probably, at least a fifth, if not more, of the people that stop by are civil servants in one form or another. And a good many of them are police officers, so it's a good opportunity to talk to them. A lot of people, of course, keep the cops separated from their lives, but they're us. I mean, cops are basically, brothers and sisters and uncles and neighbors, and so they live among us, and it's a good thing to keep communication with them and not keep that distance, because the last thing you want is to have a police force that's removed from the populace. You want them to know you. So anyway, let's get on this with it. And again, if you like it, you like it. If you care, you share. I do have some new designs up for sale. So you want to go check them out. People are always asking me about chemtrail designs. I want that out there, so I put that up. And I put up a not so PG rated CNN t-shirt. And then the 5G one, so check that one out, because that is extremely important. That's coming on as fast and furious. We need to get the message out about that and stop that in its tracks, because once that goes into place, that is a big brick in the wall for the globalists, and it'll be hard to defend against it. So I'll drop in a couple of times during this one because it's a good one, and let's get on the streets.
That's funny. Oh my God.
And here I am in this liberal cesspool. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
This is dealing with the public. Most of them don't give a crap.
Yeah.
They're kind of apathetic, afraid to speak up.
Oh, yeah.
So, and like I said, I'm going to attract like-minded people, mostly.
Right.
And you know what the others are. They're dumber than a box of rocks, and they're cowards. I mean, you get them alone, they're nuts. You know that.
Did you hear that idiot yesterday?
Of course.
Oh my God.
Huh?
I gotta listen to shit on my fucking vacation. Are you kidding me?
I was thinking about this on the way over here. How disconnected the people are that are in power.
Yeah.
From what's going on in the street. You know that from being on the street.
Yeah, well, they don't understand what most people really think, and they don't, and now they're getting there, but they were so embarrassing last week with the Kavanaugh thing. It was just like,
well, they were screwing themselves.
I object stringently. I was watching that movie with Tom Cruise, you can't handle the truth. I object stringently.
I know.
Well, if you object stringently, well, then we'll reconsider.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's all about feelings with them.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with substance. It's identity politics.
No.
I mean, I think they've really stepped in it with this, trying to eviscerate the First Amendment. Mm-hmm. They're taking anything right of center down off the internet.
Yeah.
They took InfoWars. You're familiar with InfoWars?
Yeah. Alex Jones,
I closed out the show with Owen Schroyer about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. I don't know much about Alex Jones, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I know, he's a conservative, but I mean, I saw the thing he did with Rubio, and I was like, I didn't get what that was all about.
The thing about, I've been listening to the guy for 18 years, right? And he'll tell you this himself. I mean, he's not, look, I'm not a professional. I'm a guy that knows stuff. I've read history. And what he's done, he's built this news network together by selling his own products.
Right.
So he's not beholden to anybody. So, and I've talked to other news people out here from the Hill and from Fox and I always ask them, are there taboo subjects? And they will tell me yes. If they're honest with me, they'll tell me yes. Well, Jones has no taboo subjects. He's going to go where the truth like you, if we're investigating a crime, you would go, where does the evidence lead me? As improbable as it might sound, it's going there. So he does that, and what he was up in Washington for is because he's bombastic, because he's in your face. No, he doesn't follow the rules. Right? All of this censoring of him has been going down without him being able to defend himself. They've had 11 hearings using him as an example, and he's never been able to sit at the microphones and go, this is what I said. So,
well, your little tag there kind of is me right there.
Oh, sure. That's what most people are.
I'm a registered Republican, but...
Yeah, you know what that is.
It's like Rubio. Like, I'm not a fan of his at all.
Of course not.
But like a few months ago, where he said, "I haven't seen that the tax cuts have done anything." It's like, are you kidding me? That you'd really even say that?
No.
It's not your turn to run. It's not your turn. You're too young. Can you give it 6 more years and take a run at it? I mean, it's like you ain't ready, dude.
I know. Plus, look. Trump has been saying, a lot of people have been saying, anybody that knows anything has been saying, that basically for a good number of years, the government we see is just window dressing. The real powers that lie behind the bureaucrats.
Oh, yeah.
And
you're seeing it now.
Yeah. The op-ed. Op-ed that came out in the New York Times for crying out loud. Now, you're the police officer, you know the law. How is that not sedition? I mean, if you... Thank you. Thank you.
I can't go behind the chief's back and say, hey, this guy's a fucking idiot, but thank good I'm there to, keep him in line, because if not, it'd really be fucked up.
Let's not arrest that guy because I know better.
You can't do that.
You can't.
Well, hey, let me get one of these signs for you.
Sure, man.
For me to get out of this heat.
Yeah, it's murder. So, we wind up jumping over to the other side and continue this conversation, and this is where we get into the corruption on the of the police through drugs, and then his take on that and where we're going with that. So let's get on with it. And I'll butt in here when I think he says something that I disagree with. That maybe it's, he's playing possum. That behind the scenes, because there are grand juries going on, I understand, with McCabe right now. So I don't know. It's got me puzzled.
I don't know how you let a guy like Rosenstein tell you that, you need to recruit yourself.
Things seem very...
You really need to recruit yourself, and I'll run this thing so you don't have to worry about it. Because you met some Russians one time when Obama sent you to this thing because you were on the Foreign Affairs Committee. You accidentally said hi to a Russian. So you need to recuse yourself. But me, I'll run this thing.
And then
when I signed off this, signed off on this. You gotta recuse yourself. Because you said.
I mean, as an officer, wouldn't you pretty much, if you saw someone lie to your face like that, pretty much arrest them on the spot, or at least detain them and say, well, let's check this out?
And police work, local police work, it's not a crime to lie to police, unless you do a sworn statement. It's not like the feds where.
Yeah, but you can tell when
say-
someone has a
Oh,
trained
yeah,
officer
yeah,
when
yeah.
someo's lying. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
driving
don't
at.
think he's competent. Though. I see the way he speaks. I don't think that I don't think he's all there.
Who's that? Oh, shit, really?
I don't think he's all there. By telling him, hey, you're going to do what we say, and you can't resign, or we're going to embarrass you too, and say.
Now, the rumor is, of course, that he's going to release the, and I don't know why he hasn't done it yet.
Oh, because you want to wait close to the midterms.
Yeah, but there's so many crimes
Yeah.
that you know, we could keep the courts busy for years.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, let's go on the offensive. I mean, who do we see?
See, by November, whatever Trump releases on those things would have already died. People would have been like, okay, whatever. He's got to do it closer.
Yeah, you really get people that less of a patience.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you see what the Inspector General report, right? What they said. And nobody gives a shit about that anymore. We're still talking about investigation of collusion.
I mean, I'm outraged. I'm just an ordinary citizen. As an officer of the law, a former officer of the law, you got to be,
Because I've heard of people saying, oh, yeah, I got railroaded, and I was like, oh, that's some fucking bullshit. But then you see this, and I'm like, these people really, it did happen.
Yes.
Of course, I never did it I never thought someone could really do the shit that they
And
were
that's
doing.
another thing, because, I mean, everything has the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
And so, I would imagine being a good officer, it's like the Serpico thing, you know, you're compartmentalized and then you're villainized and then maybe even taken out if you speak out. Is that kind of pretty much the deal? I mean,
Well, it wasn't where I was at. I was in Central Florida, but my older brother, he's passed away now. He was a deputy sheriff from where I'm from, Volusia County, Daytona Beach area. And he was here in the 80s about how much all the money you could make down south as an officer down there, and they were starting to double. So he went down there and worked for Davie, Florida.
right.
Which is where the cocaine cowboys were.
Right.
So he gets down there, and he's like, these guys, hey, we're doing this thing, here's some money.
Right.
And he's like, I don't do that. Well, his sergeant came to him and said, hey, listen,
Yeah, you want the job?
you're weirding everybody out because this is what happens. And he thought he was going to get killed. He called my mom.
Wow.
My mom called Sheriff Duff and said, hey, John's having a hard time down there because it's a mess.
Yeah.
And he said, tell him to get his ass back up here and start him back.
I grew up in the Tampa Bay area at that time when all that stuff was happening.
So, really, it was going on.
Yeah.
I've never been a part of it.
Yeah, indeed. Do you think drugs should be legal?
Yeah.
No? Isn't that what's driving all the corruption? Because here's my take on it.
Yeah.
If we're going to go by the Constitution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once you get to legal age, what you put in your body should be your own damn business. I mean, you really can't stop anybody from doing what they want to do. You got to follow them around 24/7. I don't, they have laws against it, and it's still prevalent.
Well, here's my issue with it. Is back in the days, people said that prohibition didn't work. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But when they ended it, you had mental institutions opening. You had this opening. You had families breaking up and everything. So people say alcohol. Well, alcohol wasn't good for us either.
Yeah, but the problems persist whether it's legal or illegal. You can have people that abuse it.
Well, it wasn't as bad when it was illegal because there's people like me that won't use it if it's illegal. Now, if you tell me tomorrow that I can smoke weed and it's legal and my job won't
Well, I wouldn't think that your job should be affected. It's like you can't drink on the job and keep your job. So you shouldn't be able to do drugs on your job either. I'm saying that my point being...
But they can legislate it. It's like your job can say, hey, if you smoke, you can't work here.
Well, they do it now. Hell, they give tests to see if you do drugs all the time.
So what I'm saying is the people that will do it we're all going to pay for it. All this treatment and stuff, there's going to be things for treatments. And
Here's my premise. If you educate, okay, all right, that's the premise. If let's say in school you bring in a meth addict, you go, hey, this is him. This is a picture of him before. This is him after. Here's the meth. Now, if you educate people to what they do, and at the age of consent, they want to still do it of their own free will, give it to them, get them out of the gene pool as quickly as possible, and that's it. But most people, once they're educated, what drives a lot of people to drugs is the allure of it being, volatile.
Not everybody does drugs as a drug dealer.
Oh, indeed.
So a lot of, most of them aren't making money on it.
I'm just more libertarian in that sense, and I think it drives a lot of corruption, where police do wind up then, like in Davies, wind up, the whole force becomes corrupted from it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's this a big societal issue with people not working, people not taking care of their kids, and when you're having people on these drugs, that's what happens.
Yeah.
People start.
Well, yeah, but then on the flip side of it, and
then you got to put them in jail, then you got to pay to house them.
This is where I think he's contradicting himself, I believe, in this. I mean, on the one hand, of course, he's a constitutionalist, but when he says, where we have to jail them, well, we're jailing them now. That's the industry. And if drugs are illegal, of course, there wouldn't be that allure, that the money would be taken out of it. So there would be no need to corrupt the police, because, as I say, I'm surprised he doesn't see it. I mean, the police force in Davies was corrupted because of drugs being illegal. If they were taken out of the equation, I don't know, maybe they'd find another corruption, but it wouldn't be drugs. So you're taking that profit out of the whole thing. Then he brings up the statistics he's going to bring up here, will bear me out even further. So his own statistics are burning his own argument, and why he can't or won't be able to see that, I don't know. It's that double think. How can you hold two opposing thoughts in your mind at the same time and justify both? That's what we got going on here. Other than that, he seems like he was an honest cop.
Because now they've not just done drugs, and then what happens also?
Well, we're doing that now with them.
We're going to do it more if we legalize it.
No, that's true.
Yeah, it's true, because
it's countries where they have legalized drugs, the crime and the drug use.
I had to do a report right before I retired, telling how much of our crime came from drugs.
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean? The mayor wants to know how much of our cases come from drugs.
Yeah. Offshoots of
everything? Yeah, okay. So I had to go back a year, because I was a CID investigation commander when I retired. So I go back a year. And they came back to 83%.
Yeah.
Of theft.
Yeah.
Sexual assaults.
Yeah.
Everything was drug related, because what happened was we were losing one person a month in my small city, 40,000 people
opioids a big problem now
with the pills.
Yeah.
And so people go to steal, to pawn stuff, to get the pills, and 83% it's from drugs.
There's a couple of get out of jail free cards for you too from Hillary Clinton.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you want try to keep one of them and help the prison here. It's good for any crime in the world.
Okay.
As you know.
Look at that.